Good morning, everyone. This is one more video about becoming a general practitioner in Ireland. So, first of all, a little introduction about this video. Um, I had made a video about how to become a general practitioner in the UK, and this is, you can say, a continuation of that, or on the same topic, but this one is about Ireland. Now, the most important thing about this video is that I will talk about the procedure, how to apply, and what are the different stages which are involved in getting the training in Ireland to become a GP. But we will also talk about the differences between the UK and the Ireland about in the GP recruitment process, as well as the other differences which are there. So again, that we know that it's a specialist training, and simply it aims to produce doctors who, after completing the training, can provide health, education, and preventive medicine, as well as dealing with acute and chronic medical problems in the community. And as I told you in the previous video, that GPs are the one who are basically a bridging connection between the community and the other hospitals, like hospital setups or tertiary care hospitals. Because the model over here is simply that all the community, they have their GPs registered with them, and most of their ailments which are not emergency, they basically contact their GPs, and GPs either deal with that conditions, or GPs either refer them to different specialist services. So talking about the GP training in Ireland, or GP general practice training program in Ireland, there is a website which is called as icgp.ie. So you can open that, and in that one, all the details are present, and this even this presentation is done from different resources used from the same website. So this one is the basic structure of the training. ICGP, this is a website, basically it's taken from the same website, general practice training program. So now, one of the difference between the UK and Ireland is that if you will get a full-time training in the UK, that is basically 3 years, with 1.5 year in the GP practice, and one and a half years in hospitals. There are rotations in the hospital, whereas in Ireland it's a 4 year training program. So simply 1 year more than the UK. So year one and two are basically basic specialist training, BST, which is rotations in the hospital. So you will be working as a SHO or senior house officer, and the year three and four is HST, or higher specialist training, in which you will be working in the GP setup. So simply for year one and two, there will be hospital-based post in general medicine, ped, psychiatry, gynae, A&E, and each week there will be one day, like one half day for the training, for the teaching, and after you will complete the first 2 years, you will be sent into the community, and you will be based in supervised general practices with nominated GP trainer. You will be having a GP trainer who will basically train you. So trainees have 2 hours dedicated teaching with their trainer, plus a full day teaching with the training scheme weekly. So this is how it works. Sorry. So upon completing this one, basically, this all is CSCST, like basically the training of 4 years. Um, and you have to do MICGP examination of membership of Irish College of General Practice. Like in UK, you will register yourself with RCGP. In Ireland, you will register yourself with MICGP. So you have to pass these exams. In UK there are two exams, in Ireland there are three exams. So then you will be eligible to for the specialist register in the division of general practice. One of the exception in this 4-year program is that there is something called as recognition of prior learning pathway, RPL. So if someone who have experience, we will talk about that thing at the end of this lecture, this presentation, that if someone have prior learning experience, so their training will be reduced from 4 years to maybe 3 years or 3.5 years. Okay, so this is the overview of national GP training recruitment process. So step one is application, as I told you. Okay, like in UK, every year there is two cycles, round one and round two. Round one starts in August and round two starts in February, whereas in Ireland it's just one time every year, the recruitment process, which like basically the applications opens mid October every year, and they remain open for 5 weeks, and then you have to pay the application fee, which was 50 euros before, but now it's 70 euros. Sorry, but in UK, there's no application fees and everything is free, but here you have to pay 70 euros to the for the application, and you will supply with all the supporting documentations, and we will talk about this one, what are the supporting documentations which are needed. So the training programs basically, which like the applications open mid October, and basically the training starts next year in July. Step two is eligibility. So simply the college is going to go through your application and see like either your documentation is correct or you meet all the requirements to get to be considered as getting into the training program. There is HSC English language competency requirements, and step three is shortlisting. Now, this is something new. Before, like last year, there was no exam in Ireland, but there was just interviews. But now they, like UK, they have introduced again the same exam, MSRA, which is multi-speciality registration assessment exam. And again, I will do a video about that exam in the coming days. So shortlisting is based on performance at SJT and CKT test. So SJT is situational judgment test, and CKT is clinical knowledge test, which are basically the part of MSRA. These two are basically part of MSRA exam. And on applications having completed a minimum of 9 months clinical experience. So you must have 9 months clinical experience. So the clinical experience must be paid full time or equivalent postgraduate acute hospital base, either as an intern or SHO by the time of starting GP training in July 2023. So applicants are required to provide details of the hospital experience on the application form. So basically, in very simple words, doesn't matter either your experience is in Ireland or in some other country, you only have 9 months of experience before they will consider you to start the training program. Now, like I know many of the doctors who basically get the training and then they come to Ireland, so it's not important that you must be working over here to get into the training program, because I personally know doctors who were not working in Ireland, but they were working in other countries and they get JP training and then they came to Ireland. Same story with UK. Step four is reference upload and interview consents. So what happens, like they are going to shortlist depending on the performance in MSRA exam, and then all the successful candidates, they will ask them to upload the references. So you have to provide basically two references, like two different consultants. And now for Ireland, they have the BST reference form available on HSE website. So you have to get it filled by the consultants, and you have to consent for the interview. Like basically, they take the consent that all the terms and conditions that your information will be shared, you will be recorded by the camera and stuff like this. Step 5 is interviews. So interviews basically, like every year, they conduct interviews for the what you can say shortlisted candidates around the month of January, or like most of the time during February time. And uh, interviews through the Zoom, and like especially before COVID, they used to do in-person interviews, but nowadays they are conducted on Zoom, and there are basically two or three examiners who give you three, most of the time three or sometimes four scenarios. One of the scenario is most of the time related to the GP setup questions, like problems faced by the GPs nowadays and things like this. And there are two more scenarios. Most of the time, clinical scenarios are there. So they display it on the screen, and then you have to talk about that. So now, the interview, after the interview, then they decide like either you are successful in that interview or not. Based on that, they will send emails like who else is successful in the interviews. Then they go to step 6, which is scheme selection. So what they have to do, like again, you will go to ICGP website and you are going to select the preferences. Unlike UK have a lot of seats, as I told you. It's a very big country. Ireland have very few seats in GP training. We will talk about that thing in a while. Step 7 is rank and match. A rank and match is undertaken, taking into account the number of available places on scheme and candidates' total overall score and training scheme preference. And step 8 is offers. So they will send the offers depending on the ranks, depending on what you have chosen. So again, a candidate may either accept the offer, reject it, or withdraw from the process. Okay, so if I will talk about the regions, like basically, if I want to talk about the regions related, like in the UK, it needs a full, I think, 1 hour video just to talk about the regions they have. Ireland just have 4 regions: West region, in which there is Donegal, Sligo, and then there is South region. Cork is basically the main one. Southeast, Midwest, and Southwest. There is Dublin North, in which there is Northeast, RCSI hospitals, and North Dublin City. And there is Dublin South, in which there is UCD, Midlands, and TCD as well. These are the universities over here. So this one is like taken from the ICG website again. See, ICGP Central key support functions are like they provide support, training welfare, training governance, conference events, and all these things, to all the 4 regions. Simply, everything is centralized. Okay. Uh, Now, uh, again, this one is taken from the same website, talking in a little bit more detail about what you need to apply and what you must have before you apply or before you start the training. Okay, so uh, these are the applications that are assessed in 3-stage process application. So basically, it's an online application form on icgp.ie website. You have to provide with your HSC English language competency requirement, which is basically overall band 7 with not less than 6.5 in any each module, and overall it should be 7 with 7 in speaking. I think like these are the requirements by HSC. And IMC trainee specialist register eligibility. Simply, if you have registration with General Council of Irish Medical Council, uh, like the general division, then you are eligible to enter into the specialist training register. Okay, and you have to provide details of the minimum of 9 months paid uh, postgraduate acute hospital based clinical experience, and that 9 months can be completed. What you can say, it should be there in place before you start your job in July the next year. So clinical must be minimum of 3 months duration. The only exception is where they are part of a structure in the program. Anyhow, like this one is not so important. Okay, so shortlisting is based on performance on the online test, MSRA exam, and then interview. Applicants that meet the requirements at application and shortlisting stage will be invited for interview. Interview will be held online on 8th and 9th of February. So, scores from the completion of the application form plus SJT plus interviewer combined to give the overall candidate score, and based on that they basically rank. Okay, so one of the thing, as I told you, that in UK there is thousands of seats in round 1 and hundreds of seats in round 2. In Ireland, they don't have too much seats. You can see for 2023 they have like 21 in North Dublin, RCS scheme 18, Northeast 24. So they don't have much seats simply. Like they have very limited seats, and they have their own graduates. They have graduates coming from different European countries, but people do get seats, because personally I know doctors who got GP training in Ireland while they were working in other countries, and then they moved to Ireland. They started doing their training program. Okay, so again, this one is the overview. Nothing is different. We have discussed all these things before. Step 1 is again application. Step 2, eligibility, shortlisting, reference upload and interview consent, interviews, scheme selection, rank and match, and offers. But like if you will see that, if you are applying in UK, basically they will give you a lot of options. Like you can get not full-time training. You can opt for reduced time training. You can opt for deferral in start. Like they are very, what you can say, flexible. But in here, there is no deferral of training. Offers made in 2023 are for commencement on 10th of July, so you have to start on 10th of July whatsoever. Candidates are not permitted to exchange places offers with other successful candidates. If a candidate rejects a training offer, this does not impact on any future applications. If, however, a candidate accepts a training offer and withdraw without a valid reason, having signed the GP training agreement, they may be referred to the Irish Medical Council for unprofessional behavior. This may also impact on the success of future applications. And feedback is provided upon request to candidates who do not meet the eligibility criteria, are not shortlisted, or unsuccessful interview. So simply, like, you can ask for example, like why you were not selected. Okay, so this one is very important one. Will give you a bit more detail about what are the requirements. So criteria for the eligibility for the training specialist register. So number A is doctor who have graduated from an Irish medical school and have successfully completed the internship in Ireland. So definitely, you, like many of us, we don't like IMGs, international medical graduates, we don't fall in this category. Doctors who have graduated from an Irish medical school and will complete the internship in Ireland by July 2023. Again, many of the doctors, IMGs, they don't fall in this one. Doctors who are currently registered with IMC on the general or training register. So basically, this one is the category where most of us IMGs fell, and we have to just provide with IMC registration certificates. And doctors who were previously registered with the IMC on the general or training register, again, they have to provide the previous certificate. And doctors who have successfully completed their medical qualification one of the countries. So basically, these are all European countries. Okay, so they are also eligible for the training specialist register. Applicants who do not meet any of the criteria A to E must contact the IMC directly for confirmation of eligibility for registration in the general medical division of the register. And definitely the Irish College of General Practice cannot advise on eligibility outside parameter as outlined. So, yeah, like, it's not there. They just want you to get registered, or you must be registered with the Irish Medical Council. Now, HSC English language. So simply, either you must be exempt from IELTS and OIT, and that's definitely if you are registered from if you are graduated from any English speaking country like Ireland, UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or USA, or if you have completion of Irish State Leaving Certificate or A Levels UK and completion of a medical degree through English, and This is the category where most of us basically fall, currently employed as medical doctor by the HSC, whereby IELTS and OET was completed upon entering services to HSC. So basically, when you get registered with Irish Medical Council, you provide them with IELTS or OET. So most of us like, so if you can read the criteria, like the IELTS should be within last 2 years and the overall score of 7 with minimum of 6.5 in reading, writing, listening and speaking. And if we will talk about the OET certificate, again, it is valid for 2 years with minimum grade of B in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. If you will get C in any of one, basically you're not eligible. Okay, so we have discussed the hospital experience before, SGT exam. Okay, so as I told you, I will do a video about MSRA. But remember that MSRA is the same exam, but a different number of questions if we will compare UK with Ireland. UK exam is basically 3 hours. This one is 1.5 hours. And in this one, in Ireland, basically, they started this year only. They give just 35 questions from SGT and they give just 20 questions from clinical knowledge test. And very easy questions, by the way. I have seen that test myself. Those 20 questions were very easy. And again, like, these are domains which basically they come from. Anyhow, we will talk about that thing in detail when I will do a video about MSRA. Okay, so this one is again a bit more detail. All the applicants who are invited to interview, they have to give consent, simply to confirm contact details, to upload identification, consent to terms and conditions. They must upload 2 completed BST references, as I told you already about this one. And simply they allocate candidates randomly to different computer interview panels, and they send you the emails and they ask you to install Zoom and all these things. These are the domains basically which they check for, which you must have to enter into GP training. Again, they are not much different from the UK one, like learning and development of self and others, leading for continuing improvement, effective team working, respect for diversity and the law, coping with pressure, conceptual thinking, problem solving, professional integrity, organization and management of resources, clinical knowledge, expertise, empathy and perspective thinking, communication skills. Okay, so this is the last thing. Again, if you are training offer you are accepting, or if you are rejecting, simply when you will accept the ICGP inform the training scheme of acceptance for forward application form and documentation, and you have to sign the agreement. Okay, one thing which I told you we will discuss in the end is basically recognition of prior learning. So your 4-year program will be reduced to 3 years, or depending which one you are claiming it from. So if you are claiming recognition of prior learning from medicine, so they can reduce your training program up for 1 year. So instead of 4 years, you just have to do 3 years, but you must hold a certificate of completion of core specialist training, CSCST, in basic specialist training in medicine with Royal College of Physicians of Ireland. Okay, and you should have completed all the MRCPI examination. So simply, in simple words, if you have done BST in Ireland in medicine and you have completed your MRCPI exam, they are going to reduce 1 year of your training. If you want to claim it in emergency medicine, again, you must have completed your training in emergency medicine, the basic one, and you must have MRChem exams. Okay, so primary and intermediate examinations by 2023. And if you want to claim it from pediatrics, so you must have again BST in peds with MRCPI in pediatrics. So remember, like very few, many of the doctors, or especially Irish graduates or doctors, um, young doctors, they have BST, but you need MRCPI as well in this one. So again, this one is the same thing in more detail, but it says the same thing, that your training will be shortened from 4 years to 3 years if you will claim RPL in medicine. But again, you have to provide the BST in medicine with MRCPI, complete MRCPI, 3 parts. Pediatrics, your training will be reduced from 4 years to 3.8 years. Simply 4 months will be reduced, but again you must have BST in pediatrics with MRCPI in pediatrics, full complete. Whereas in emergency medicine, your training can be reduced for 1 year, from 4 years to 3 years, but again you must have CSTEM, which is basically core specialist training in emergency medicine, with RCAM examinations, MRCAM examinations, primary and intermediate, not the full one. So simply, once you will get into the training program, you will complete those 4 years, and what they are going to give you is certification of satisfactory completion of training. And you need one of this, with you have to complete all the examinations of MICGP, and when you will combine these two, you will be awarded as a, you will become a general practice practitioner, registered. You will be on a specialist register, and you will be able to work again in Ireland, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, in many Arab countries, if you have completed GP training from UK or Ireland or Australia. Differences between UK and Ireland in GP training programs. Number one is places. Remember, as I told you, UK have a lot more. Basically, you can say around, I would say 15 times more places, okay, than Ireland. MSRA, you have to now sit for MSRA in both, but there are more questions in UK MSRA than Irish MSRA. The UK one MSRA, you have to go to Pearson to give the exam, whereas for Irish Medical Council, you can give it from home. Interview, UK currently not holding interviews, okay, it's only on MSRA score. I'm not sure, like when they are going to change it, but still, like, you know, it's only MSRA score which they count. But whereas what you can say in Ireland, they do now, they started taking MSRA as well as interviews. Procedure of applying in UK, it's Oriel account, okay, and in Ireland it's ICGP website, okay. Cost, UK is free to apply, whereas there is 50 to 70 euros to apply for the Irish Medical Council exam. Time, as we know, in UK the GP training 3 years training program if you go for full time in the UK, whereas in Ireland it's 4 years, okay. And salary, okay, we will talk about this one in a separate video, okay. And for recognition, both are equally recognized around the world, okay. I hope you enjoy and you got something from this video. If you have any questions, you can write down in the comments and I will try to answer them. Thank you so much.